Hi, Kolby.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
Doing good.
Thanks for coming on. So, I want to go back to a couple of the things that we talked about in our phone conversation, but also that we touched on at the beginning of this webinar. The end of the year for you in your facility, what does that look like? What do you guys have planned this year? How are you guys keeping members engaged? Or have you found that there are a few things that work, though, the tried and true every year that you do?
Yeah, I think you hit on it really well, actually. Like creating some more opportunities for people to like engage through the end of the year is an awesome thing to have. I think a lot of times, you talk about like the wadded wine. You're like that sells out every single year. I think towards the holiday season, having some sort of like social events is actually potentially better for retention and engagement than trying to do some sort of like fitness crazy such a thing.
Yeah.
We do like a Friendsgiving that's hosted by the gym every single year, and we do basically like a holiday gala that's also hosted at the end of the year. And the Friendsgiving is like the gym provides some of the food, and then everybody else gets to like do some potluck style things. And we typically have a really awesome turnout. And everyone's invited. Like the nice thing about these social events is because I'm not worried about can somebody do it or not do it. Like people get to bring friends and
Yeah.
family to those sorts of things, and see, hey, what does this community kind of look like?
Yeah.
And then in December, the holiday gala is a little bit more of like a formal dress up, and we do like fun photos that are like inside the gym when everyone's dressed up. And again, because I'm not worried like can somebody snatch or can somebody do some sort of other movement. Friends and family get to experience that community sort of feel as well.
Yeah.
So those are some like year-end things that I try to bring in some more engagement with. But we also host like a clinic or a seminar, but that's not something that's particularly only to the end of the year. Those are things that we do on a monthly basis anyways, but
Yeah.
they help keep engagement. Instead of saying, hey, because it's holiday season, we're going to stop those, we still do those seminars and clinics through the end of the year as well.
How are you getting all of that information out to your customers? Are you obviously social media and your emails? Is there anything that I'm missing there?
Those are the two biggest. I think that is the hardest thing, right? Is like how can you communicate to the most amount of people? Like some people are like, I don't have Facebook, so if you post in the Facebook group, I won't get it. And some people are like, I send all your emails to my spam folder, so I don't get your emails.
Right.
And so it's how can I touch as many channels as I can without being like obnoxious about I need to be on every single channel.
Sure.
So I typically do 2 emails in a month, and those emails are full of information that have pertinent information for the end of like usually that month and the following month. Mm-hmm. So one in the beginning of the month, one in the middle of the month. And then I follow up like snippets of that into our Facebook page. I follow snippets of that into our Instagram feed as well. And then we also, because a lot of that stuff, like the email is the base of that. It comes with some sort of like poster or, physical collateral. I can print flyers out and have them in the gym as well. So coaches are always announcing, hey, these are events that are upcoming. These are gatherings that are upcoming. For people that don't read their emails, for people that don't have Facebook, don't have Instagram, they're like, I didn't know about these.
Yeah. There's always that the one-off that they're not on social media. So that's where I made that mistake early on, was just like funneling everything into Instagram, and there are definitely the people that just don't look at it. So, and for you said something interesting that resonated with me in our phone conversation, and actually to Mike also. When looking at numbers at the beginning of the year, we're similar in that the influx into our facility happens like maybe a little later, like a month and a half after. So do you prepare any differently for that? Is there a process you go through with your staff to get them ready? Are you handling all of those new people that are coming in? How does that look for you guys?
That's a great question. Towards the beginning of the year, it's not the January 1st. It's between like at least 2 weeks into January into like mid-February that we're seeing a large influx of people that are like, you know what, I said I was going to do this. It's now the 15th. I need to actually do it. I handle a lot of the onboarding process for our space. So I will probably do a lot of the discovery calls and potentially even those intro consultations. But I have 2 other full-time staff, and they have a lot of availability that they set for one-on-one sessions. And so once I've done a one-on-one or an intro consultation, I'm able to schedule my coaches like a lot of availability, right? Like early in the morning from 5 a.m. to 10, 11 o'clock, and then afternoons from like 3:30 until 7:30, 8:30 at night.
Gotcha.
So typically I'm not having the issue of, hey, I don't have enough space for you. But it does, our onboarding process is shaped a little bit to get people into a group class on a little bit slower pace so that people don't feel like they're lost or confused when they get into the group setting.
Do you have members coming into a group setting right away, or do you onboard them?
Everybody gets onboarded. The few exceptions to that is somebody who's coming directly from another CrossFit facility. I still do a consultation with them, but I may shadow a group class session with them and then have them go into a group class or into group classes immediately. Everybody else is doing some sort of onboarding where they're doing learning, and they're doing like not only like physical learning, but learning about our space too. Like, how do I reserve classes? How do I record workouts? Where do I find these things? How do I set myself up for class? So just a lot of stuff that's like logistics that somebody may not think about when they're like, oh, I'll just join a group class. And you're like, well, there's a lot of other things.
So, and this is a loaded question and probably difficult to answer. I didn't prep you for this one, but the last question I had for you, you've been doing this a long time. And so I'm interested for the people that watch this and are brand new, the one takeaway that you can give, like what is the most important thing you can give them as you're starting out as new inside of this industry?
I feel like the one thing that helps lead to a lot of other things is something that like Greg talks about a lot. Greg Glassman, the founder of CrossFit, was like, you just got to care about people. If you don't care about people, it's really hard. Like you talk about like retention and veteran members and like reactivation, like people want to come to your space and people want to stay there. But if they don't feel like they're seen, heard, and understood, they don't stick around. And then you're constantly fighting a revolving door. So make sure, and even if that means like spend the time to set up systems and processes to make sure that people are taken care of. Because if people aren't taken care of, they don't stick around. And that's like the biggest pitfall that you can do is be running in a revolving door.
It's interesting in how you say that too, because I think in the beginning we're all trying to like save money and keep our overhead low and do all the things that you want to do so that your doors stay open, right? And I remember in the beginning just feeling like I was in this like hamster wheel. And when you are in that hamster wheel, it's really hard to pay attention to what matters, and those are your members. And so taking that leap of faith and getting that software that's going to do some stuff for you, taking that leap of faith and hiring another coach or getting a cleaning company once a week, like wherever that you can find that source to take that off of you or to train somebody up so they can help you. For me, it was automated marketing, like a thousand times over. I feel like, because I started my business when there was no Instagram, there was none of this stuff existed. So it was like pencil and paper, and it's wild what we can do now. So, so like, I love that. To your point, to just make sure that it's member forward. So, I
would say that the one big thing that I had was like my client success manager. For you is automated marketing. For me, like having a dedicated client success manager that had really good tools made a big difference for having it stay client forward, even if I was like busy with 1,000 other things.
Yeah, absolutely.